Hey everyone, it's Mike from driveid.com, and here I'm going to do some tutorials on Photoshop since people have been losing their jobs, and this might be something to pass the time, or you might be able to learn a new skill. So today I'm going to talk about layers, and if you go up to, so just make sure you have Photoshop opened, whatever version, and go to Window, go to Workspace, and go to Essentials right here. So just click on that, and you should have what the same setup as I do. If not, actually, I'll just go to Workspace and reset Essentials. Okay, so it might look like this. And what I want you to do is find the Layers palette. For me, it's right here on the bottom here, the bottom right. So I just click on that and just drag that over, just make it a separate palette. So now I can move it around wherever I want to. These I want to close, so you see these little double arrows here and double arrows all the way to the right. So I'm going to click that to collapse it, and I'm just going to have this layers palette. So I'm just going to go over just the basics of layers. I don't want to overwhelm anybody, especially if they're just starting off. So we're going to do a new file. So go to File, New, or do Command N if you're a Mac, or Control N if you're a PC. I'm definitely going to say a lot of short keys here because here it's going to save you a lot of time. And what you want to do is up here, click on web. Now, if I go too fast, just rewind this video and play it again. So, you could hit pause and then go forward. So we're going to go web. You're going to go to 1920 by 1080, which is here. And then this little thing here says artboards. Click on that because I don't want artboards. And you want to be 72 resolution, RGB, all this other crap. Hit create. And there you go. So now you have a layer. Now if I hit F, as in Frank, it's going to just full screen this. So if I hit it again, I'll put a black rim around it. If I do it again, it'll be a floating palette or window. But I'm going to do this and Command minus to zoom back. And if I hit spacebar, I have a hand and I go over here. I know I might be going too fast for some people, but try to keep up. All right, so background layers are basically this. You think of it this way: when you were a kid and there was that projector, when a teacher was teaching, they were doing math and they projected onto a screen and they had those like plastic film things and they would draw on it and they put another one on top of it. So they'd be, they would draw something. Let's say they would be like, here's a circle, and then they would put another layer on top of it and then be like, here's a box. Now they do that because they could separate that and move it around. Now the problem with Photoshop, or the problem with working with one layer, is that this image now is on just this layer right here. Now if I hit Command Z to undo that, now the way you make a new layer is right here in the bottom right. You see create a new layer. So you click on that, it'll make a new layer, and you'll see here, now there's a little like checkered box behind it. That just means it's transparent. So if you print this out, if you're printing on paper, it's always going to have a white background because paper's white, and whatever image is here is going to print on the paper. But that's a whole other story. So since you have this layer here, now if I draw that box again, and I'm just holding shift and clicking here with the brush tool. Now if I select this layer and I hit this select tool up here, it's separated. So now I can move it around and it's not on the same layer as the one below it. Okay, so hopefully that you're starting to understand that. Now the benefit of that is you don't, like Mac Paint would be one layer and you couldn't separate anything. So with this, if I have another layer, if I click the layer palette and I get the brush tool, which is B, and if not, you just click it over here. And if I want to get a new color, I'd click this little box right here for the foreground, and I could, let's say, do red. So let's say I just want to do a bunch of squiggles on top of this box right here. So now that's separate because if I hit V or if I hit the select tool, this is separated. And I can also take this layer and I could put it behind it, and now this other layer is on top. Now the kind of the pain in the ass part of Photoshop when you first start is that if I click on these objects, it doesn't select it. It just stays on the layer, which eventually becomes handy if you are using Photoshop a lot. But if I hold down Command and click, it'll select those objects. Now this circle in the back, the only problem is that that's drawn on this layer. So it's basically connected to the background, which you can't move unless I double click it and I make it a layer and say okay. So now when I move it, you can see that that whole layer is just that circle with that white box, and then you got that transparency behind it, which I can explain later in another video. But hopefully this gives you kind of an idea about how layers work. So let me show you kind of an example here. So if I go, let's say, presidents. Oh, presidents. There we go. So let's say I choose Jimmy Carter. No, I don't want to choose Jimmy Carter. Let's say I choose Nixon. There we go. And I go to images, and I got Tricky Dick. So if I left click or right click or control click on this dude, you'll see this options come up here. If I hit copy image, and if I go back to Photoshop, so either I can click it here in my apps, or if I hold down Command and Tab and press Tab, you'll see that all of my applications are open. So you're gonna learn a bunch of stuff here. You're gonna learn the thing I'm teaching you, and then you're gonna learn a bunch of other side crap on top of that. So if I come back here to my document and I do edit, paste, or if I do Command V or Control V, I've now pasted Nixon into this document, and he is on his own layer. So if I put him here, and now if I draw on him, you'll see that now that's on his image. So if I hit Command Z, but if I do a new layer by hitting the layer icon, or you can also do Shift Option Command N. Again, told you I'm going to teach you short keys. Or just, like I said, click this layer thing. Now I'm on a new layer here. Now I could turn off these eyeballs and see that I only have that layer. And I could put Nixon back on. And if I hit B, I have the paintbrush, and I can take that paintbrush and make it smaller if I want to in size. But again, that's a whole other tutorial. So if I was like, let me give him horns, and do this. There we go. And give him like red eyes. And I could also just draw a dick into his face. There we go. There's a penis. And it's spraying onto his face. So hopefully you aren't watching this with the kids. So there you go. So now that is its own layer, and I can move it around. And also, if I actually go over here, it almost looks like a mouse. So if I were to, so if I actually were to erase the penis part, there we go. So now Tricky Dick also has a mouse face. There you go. So that's layers. I don't want to do too much with this because I want to do a bunch of these videos and I don't want to overwhelm you. So again, what we've learned, and real quick, if I take this layer, I hold down Shift and click the other layers, it selects all of them, and I can hit the trash can here, and it'll delete it, say yes. If I hit Escape, I won't do that. But if I hold down Option on a Mac or Alt on a PC and click the trash can, it'll get rid of it. And if I open this layer back up again, let's say I want to fill it. If I hit X, so keep your eyes down here, the foreground and the background. If I hit X, it'll switch those colors. So now that the white is in the front, I can fill this with white by going to, I think it's Edit, Fill, foreground color. Okay, so that's all white again. So again, if I hit a new layer by hitting this icon, or if I hit Shift Option Command N, and if I hit B for a brush, I can draw things on that layer. I can draw things on that other layer, and they're separated. And so there you go. So this is the very first tutorial. I don't know what people want to learn. I'm going to learn a lot about how to teach these things, of how fast I'm going, if I need to slow down, if there's other things I can include. But in the comments below, write down what you want to learn, and I'll do more videos showing you how to do that. So the future ones I'm thinking of doing is the marquee tool, the lasso tool, the magic wand, we got the crop tool, we got the eyedropper, the paintbrush, we got the clone tool, which is pretty cool. Let's see, what else do I use? The gradient one, we got the smudge tool, the dodge tool, the pen tool. Pen tool is a good one. Type tool. There's a lot of stuff here I can talk about. And I can also do a ton of tutorials just on the layer palette. So write in the comments below. Again, this is the first tutorial. It's probably really sloppy. It's probably too fast, but the videos moving forward will hopefully be helpful. And if you want to check out my website, it's drive80.com, and my name is Mike Doyle. There we go. Mike Doyle, drive80.com. I do animation. I also do private lessons, but I'm not going to sell those now because the economy is weird. So thank you.